Welcome back to Fulgur channel, your source for the latest in global affairs and military developments. And today, we have a breaking story from the South China Sea that's been making waves around the world. Tensions have been rising in this strategically vital region, and now, the United States has taken a significant step in response to Chinese actions. But before we dive into the details, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on critical international events like this one. The South China Sea has long been a hotspot for geopolitical tensions, with multiple nations claiming sovereignty over various parts of it. China's assertiveness in the region has raised concerns, and the situation escalated recently when a Chinese warship entered disputed waters. In response to this provocative move, the United States deployed its aircraft carrier, the USS Theodore Roosevelt. This powerful symbol of American naval strength is sending a clear message to China. The deployment of the USS Theodore Roosevelt is a strategic move by the U.S. It's a show of force and a signal that they won't back down in the face of Chinese assertiveness. This is a delicate situation. Both countries need to engage in diplomatic dialogue to avoid any further escalation that could have far-reaching consequences. The United States often sends ships and aircraft into the South China Sea to flex its muscles, and this is not good for peace, China's foreign ministry said on Monday, after a U.S. aircraft carrier group sailed into the disputed waterway. The strategic South China Sea, through which trillions of dollars in trade flows each year, has long been a focus of contention between Beijing and Washington, with China particularly angered by U.S. military activity there. The U.S. carrier group, led by the USS Theodore Roosevelt and accompanied by 3 warships, entered the waterway on Saturday to promote freedom of the seas, the U.S. military said, just days after Joe Biden became U.S. president. The United States frequently sends aircraft and vessels into the South China Sea to flex its muscles, the foreign ministry spokesman, Zhao Lijian, told reporters, responding to the U.S. mission. This is not conducive to peace and stability in the region. China has repeatedly complained about U.S. Navy ships getting close to islands it occupies in the South China Sea, where Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Brunei, and Taiwan all have competing claims. The carrier group entered the South China Sea at the same time as Chinese claimed Taiwan reported incursions by Chinese Air Force jets into the southwestern part of its air defense identification zone, prompting concern from Washington. China has not commented on what its Air Force was doing, and Zhao referred questions to the Defense Ministry. He reiterated China's position that Taiwan is an inalienable part of China, and that the United States should abide by the One China principle. Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen visited a radar base in the north of the island on Monday and praised its ability to track Chinese forces, her office said. From last year until now, our radar station has detected nearly 2,000 communist aircraft and more than 400 communist ships, allowing us to quickly monitor and drive them away, and fully guard the sea and airspace, she told officers. Taiwan's defense ministry added that just a single Chinese aircraft flew into its defense zone on Monday, an anti-submarine Bi-8 aircraft. Biden's new administration says the U.S. commitment to Taiwan is rock solid. The United States, like most countries, has no formal diplomatic ties with Taiwan, but is the democratic island's most important international backer and main arms supplier, to China's anger. The U.S. sent an aircraft carrier strike group into the disputed South China Sea the same day China dispatched a fleet of 13 warplanes, including nuclear-capable bombers, into the southwestern corner of Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ. The dispatch of the USS Theodore Roosevelt strike group to the waterway on Saturday was seen as an implicit message to China, just days after the inauguration of U.S. President Joe Biden, amid a low point in Sino-American ties. It was unclear if the timing of the Chinese moves near Taiwan and the Roosevelt entering the South China Sea were related, but satellite imagery and tracking websites appeared to show that the carrier had transited the Bashi Channel between Taiwan and the Philippines the same day. The distance between the bombers and the carrier group would have put it within striking distance of Chinese J-12 anti-ship missiles, which some of the warplanes have reportedly been outfitted with. The U.S. military said the carrier strike group was in the South China Sea, a large part of which is claimed by China, to conduct routine operations to ensure freedom of the seas, build partnerships that foster maritime security. After sailing through these waters throughout my 30-year career, it's great to be in the South China Sea again, conducting routine operations, promoting freedom of the seas, and reassuring allies and partners. Rear Admiral Doug Verissimo, commander of the strike group, was quoted as saying, "With 2/3 of the world's trade traveling through this very important region, it is vital that we maintain our presence and continue to promote the rules-based order which has allowed us all to prosper," Verissimo said in the statement. The announcement comes just days after Joe Biden was sworn in as U.S. President. Biden's nominee for Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, told his Senate confirmation hearing on Tuesday there was no doubt China posed the most significant challenge to the United States of any nation. China has repeatedly complained about U.S. Navy ships getting close to Chinese-occupied islands in the South China Sea, where Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Brunei, and Taiwan all have competing claims. The Theodore Roosevelt is being accompanied by the Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser U.S. Bunker Hill and the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers U.S. Russell and U.S. John Finn, the U.S. statement said. Experts are closely monitoring the situation as it unfolds, and neighboring countries in the region are also keeping a watchful eye on these developments. The South China Sea remains a geopolitical flashpoint, and any misstep could lead to unforeseen consequences. As we continue to follow this story, make sure to stay subscribed for our updates and analysis on this evolving situation. That's it for today's video on the U.S. sending the U.S. Theodore Roosevelt to the South China Sea. We hope you found this information valuable. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave your thoughts in the comments section below.